One afternoon, I just went and sat on a small hill, which was in a town where I grew up. For the first time, I did not know which is me and which is not me. What was me was just spread all over the place.
So it happened, I was into business by then, very successful for those times. Nobody expected me to be that successful in such a short span of time. And I'm already into half a dozen commercial activities and all of them are flourishing. Of course, I'm doing a whole lot of circus. My schedule was like morning 5:30 to 11 in the night every day. I'm on, doing variety of things. But when everything that you do is working and successful, slowly you begin to think the planets are not going around the sun, they're actually doing their rounds around you. So I'm in such a state of absolute certainty about everything. You're young, everything is working, people around you are clapping their hands. This is it. So one afternoon, I had nothing much to do between two business meetings. And this is a kind of a culture, a tradition in my soul that if whatever we want to do, if you want to camp, we go and camp on Chamandi Hill. You want to trek, it's Chamandi Hill. You want to have a party, it's Chamandi Hill. You fall in love, it's Chamandi Hill. If you fall out, you have to go to Chamandi Hill. If you have nothing to do, you go to Chamandi Hill. So I rode up and this was around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I went and sat on I'm very familiar with the whole hill. I sat on a particular rock. My eyes were still open, I did not even close my eyes. Suddenly I did not know which is me and which is not me.
Till that moment, I always thought this is me and that's somebody else. I had no issue with that somebody else, but that is somebody, this is me. For the first time, I did not know which is me and which is not me. What was me was just spread all over the place. I thought this madness lasted for 5–10 minutes, but when I came back to my normal ways of being, 4.5 hours had passed. I'm sitting right there, fully conscious, eyes open. I sat there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's 7:30 in the evening, sun has set, and I thought it's only 10 minutes, but 4.5 hours had passed. For the first time in my adult life, tears were flowing to a point where my shirt is completely wet. Me and tears were impossible, I'm like this.
I remember when I was 8 years of age, something happened and tears came. I was at school. I made up my mind, never again in my life another teardrop is ever going to come out of my eyes. And I kept it up till I was 25. And here I am, my shirt is wet. To that extent, 4.5 hours tears have been running and I never realized it's 4.5 hours, I thought it's just about 10 minutes.
I've always been happy, that's never been an issue for me. I was successful with what I was doing, I was young and no problems. I was fine. But I'm bursting with another kind of ecstasy which is indescribable. Every cell in my body is just bursting with ecstasy. I had no words. When I shook my head and tried to ask my skeptical mind, okay, what's happening to me? The only thing that my mind could tell me was, maybe you're going off your rocker. I didn't care what it was, but I didn't want to lose it because this is the most beautiful thing that I had ever touched, and I had never imagined that a human being could ever feel like this within himself.
For the first time in my life, tears of seamless love and nameless ecstasies. On that day, I lost everything I had. The smart young man I thought I was gone. A very prided myself that I was a very intelligent human being, that was gone. And I must tell you this, a little later than this, maybe around 8:15, I got the courage to ride down to Mysore city.
I went up the hill as a smart young man, very cocky and confident about everything. I came down as real nothing. Just nothing means nothing was left in me. I remember that moment. I came down around 7:45, 8. It happens to be a Saturday evening. We are in a construction industry, and Saturday evening is the time when we give out labor to everybody. In front of our office, there are some 500 people waiting. And my partner, I come and park my motorcycle and I still got the engine revving. And I look in and my partner looks out and he can't believe on a Saturday evening I'm not there. He just looks at me like this. I just looked at this entire scene. This is something we built. Built means like every day from morning 5 to 11 in the night, non-stop, I was on sites building this company. I just looked at the expression on my partner's face, he just looked quizzically, "What are you up to? Why are you not here?" kind of look on his face. And I looked at all these people who were waiting in lines for money. The cashiers were giving out money.
But I looked at this, suddenly I knew I had lost my business which I had built. So I did not get off the motorcycle, I just rode on. It's the last time I went there. The tough young man was in tears. Not for any reason, simply waves of ecstasy built in within me. And at the same time, everything that I knew as myself and my life was gone, just in one moment. So I went and sat on a lake in Mysore. We also have a lake in Mysore, not as big as this one, but a beautiful lake. I went and sat there. And I saw it was around 11 o'clock. I wanted to go home, but I did not want to go because I knew I had lost my mother. I did not want to see her, so I thought I will wait till she goes to bed. So around 11:30, I quietly switched off the motorcycle, rolled down, parked there and went inside. But these Indian mothers, she was still waiting with dinner. So I went, put down my head, simply quickly ate without looking at her. Because all relationships, everything I had, everything that I was gone. But I was bursting with ecstasy. Everything that meant anything to me was gone. But a new force, a divine ecstasy was throbbing in every cell of my body.
So when I went to my closest friends and said, "See, something is happening to me like this," as I'm talking, tears would flow, and people would say, "Did you drink something? Did you pop something? What did you do?" I knew there was no point talking to anybody because if I just look at the sky, tears will come, if I look at a tree, tears will come, if I close my eyes, tears will come. I'm just bursting. In 6 weeks' time, everything about me changed so dramatically. And I just lost the sense of time. The next time this happened was very significant because there were people around me. I went and sat with my family at the dinner table. I actually thought it's 2 minutes, but 7 hours had gone by. I'm sitting right there, fully alert, but I have no sense of time. This happened many times. One day I'm just sitting in my farm and I thought I sat there for about 25–30 minutes, but I have sat there for 13 days. By then a crowd has gathered, India being what it is, there are huge garlands all around me. Somebody is asking how to run his business, somebody wants to know when his daughters will get married. All the nonsense, I hate it, just happening around me. And I actually thought it's only 25–30 minutes, but these people saying 13 days, he's sitting, he's in samadhi, he's this, that. I had not even heard these words. I grew up on, European philosophy, Camus, Kafka, Dostoevsky. You read that stuff in America? Huh? And being 60s, Beatles and this and that, I grew up like that. Me and spirituality are another world, there's no chance of me going there. So I had none of these vocabulary, samadhi, this, that stuff in me. People are saying, oh, he's in this kind of samadhi, he's in that kind of samadhi. You touch him, this will happen, and people are trying to grab me So the only thing that I could do was leave the place and travel out, just to escape this, because I couldn't figure what's happening around me.
And I tried to open my legs, my knees were stuck. Then I knew time has passed. I didn't know, but my body is recording time. I just could open my knees, they had to bring hot water and massage me, and it took me almost an hour and a half to get my knees moving. Then I had to leave the place to avoid the tension, and by then, in about 6 weeks' time, my gait changed without any effort, the way I walk. My voice changed, the shape of my eyes changed. People around me could see something fundamental was changing within me. What happened within me I can never articulate. Simply lifetimes of memory descended on me with such weight, kind of it left me, to come to terms with that. Suddenly everything around me and everybody that I knew for a lifetime looked like absolute strangers. And I cannot say it was difficult, definitely it was daunting. It was huge. So my skeptical mind kicked in and said, this can't be true, because if I accept this is true, I have been an utter idiot all my life. I don't like that. So I traveled. Next year and a half, I just traveled everything that came in my memory just to ascertain if it is true. Every one of those places that I saw were 100% the way I had seen in my mind. And this took me to various places. And since then, what's happened within me is more fairy tale-ish than a fairy tale. I don't expect anybody to believe such things, because I do not believe such things. It is impossible to even articulate, but I would say even what's happening around me is too fairy tale-ish. People around me see this on a daily basis. It's quite ridiculous if you look at it. If you analyze it logically, it's quite ridiculous. But if you elevate yourself and look down, it is such a fantastic design. It is, I'm saying this not just by looking at the world around me. What we're just referring to as creation is such a fantastic, coordinated design. It's unbelievable. No human being can logically ever arrive at this and say, okay, I gotten it. It's too much. At the same time, everything is so cohesive and so fantastic. When you see it, even for a moment if you see it, there is no way you can ever remain the same person. So since then my life has been just to make devices through which somehow you rub off this experience on people, even if it's for a moment. I can tell you millions of people today are in such a state, if they just as much as close their eyes, tears of ecstasy will dribble down. They do not know the ultimate, but they're near. Just the fragrance of the ultimate just breaks them up, dissolves them. This is something that must happen to every human being. Before we fall dead, this is a goal that all of you must set. Whether before you fall dead, whether you become a billionaire or not, I do not know. That's subject to many things. Whether you climb Mount Everest or not, I do not know whether you have the legs or the lungs for that. Whether you're going to run 100 meters in 7 seconds or not, I do not know. But before you fall dead, at least you must know this piece of life in its entirety. This is important and important, because if you pass this life without knowing the nature of what this is, in my opinion, it's a wasted life. It doesn't matter what you might have done, what achievements you might have done in the world. If you leave this place without knowing this piece of life in its entirety, it's a wasted life, because what this is bigger than anything that we can ever think of doing in this world.
This is possible for every human being. It's my wish and my blessing. This must happen to you. Whether you climb Mount Everest or not, whether you become the richest man on this planet or not, your experience of life on this planet should be pleasant. You must live blissfully and go. That must happen to every human being. Everybody deserves it and everybody is capable of it.